Now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Kia ora, folks, and welcome back to TAB's Pick and Go Rugby podcast. My name is Karl Paul, and I am one of your hosts. Paul Mawari is the other. Paul, how's it going, mate?
Very, very good. Looking forward to the World Cup. What we're only we're around a week away, just over a week away from the start of Rugby World Cup 2023. And boy, oh boy, this is one of the most interesting World Cups since probably the first one back in 1987 when everything was new. It's just the mix of the teams, the results that we've had lately. I'm not going to say it's wide open, but I'm going to say there's the opportunity for a number of teams to make it through to at least the quarterfinal, final stage, teams that we wouldn't normally see there.
That's true, and we will get there very soon. We've been away for a few months, but we are back. As I said, our guest today, he's no stranger to the Pick and Go podcast, played 66 tests for New Zealand, scored 26 tries, if I'm correct, in the black jersey, a World Cup winner, and now plies his trade with SENZ. He is, of course, the great man, Israel Dagg. Izzy, how you going, mate?
I'm going good, lads. Look, yes, we're getting close, and we're only a week away. I'm starting to get nervous, excited, and just really, just sentimenting what Paulie said is, mate, this is the most competitive World Cup I think I've ever thought of. Like, we don't know who's going to win this tournament. There is a handful of teams that can, on any given day, beat anyone. And what really excites me, I looked to the Rugby League World Cup last year when Samoa got to the final. Fiji were really competitive. Tonga. You even had Lebanon that were competing. Like, it's so good. When you get the eligibility rules correct and right, we allow these nations to thrive that have given us so much joy. So we're finally giving back. Bring it on, boys. I cannot wait.
Yes, that's right. If you haven't gathered already, folks, we're going to be talking about the World Cup over the next little while, next 9 to 10 weeks, and we're going to have plenty of fun doing it. We're going to rip straight into it, unless you've got something to say, Paul.
No, I just wanted to add to what Izzy said there. There's a couple of things that have created this more competitive environment for this Rugby World Cup. First of all, the eligibility rules, which helps the likes of Samoa, Tonga, Fiji to a lesser extent. But also the competition that they get with the Fijians and the Super Rugby comp now, that's really given them a base to, I guess, get a squad that has this this week in, week out top level rugby, which is great. So what we need now is to see Samoa and the other Pacific Islands get that same sort of. Samoa haven't played
far away.
They haven't played a top tier nation since the last Rugby World Cup, I think, until last weekend.
And
It's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. There's still work to be done, but boy, oh boy, really looking forward to this World Cup.
Yep, I am too. And as I said, we're going to get straight into it. And I've got a hard question for both of you. Off the top, based on what we've seen so far, can New Zealand win this World Cup? Izzy?
Yes, they can. If they get a little bit of luck, injuries aside, and they have a fully strength side, I think the only question mark I have at the moment is mentally, where they're at. When you go to a World Cup, you have 8 weeks of intense scrutiny, pressure. You're in someone else's backyard. Like, I was lucky enough to play at home, so I felt the love and the aroha from everyone around New Zealand, and it was a special moment and a truly inspiring moment. But I've never had an opportunity to compete away. I've had the challenge of playing in France, and it is difficult. They're a team that live on emotions. They thrive on their home people, the culture. So it's going to be a hell of an ask, but I truly believe, we had a little bit of slip up. There's reasons why we slipped up, I feel. I've talked about it a lot. The mental side of the game, I just don't think we matched South Africa. They're on two different levels. South Africa got embarrassed at Mount Smart. The All Blacks had just won a rugby championship. They're building towards next week when they're taking on the French at home and probably the biggest games of their lives. So I just think we park that. We take a lot of the lessons that we got out of that game. We've got to select our side that we think we can compete, and physically we've got to be in a dark place, because that game we weren't physically, mentally there, and it showed. So a lot of things from that performance against South Africa, they'll take a lot out. You know, we control our discipline, we control our own destiny with ball in hand. You know, the set piece, they'll take a lot of lessons from that as well. Jason Ryan, when South Africa exposed us. But boys, honestly, I know everyone is a little bit of doubt. I believe this team can go and win it, 100%.
You call out being in a dark place physically. I've seen Paul Moati in a dark place physically a few times. Paul, AB's $3.50 favourites. Currently 4th in the world now. Yeah. Can they win the World Cup?
Well, in a word, yes.
I want a yes or a no, man.
Well, in a word, yes, they can. I mean, if you look at the tournament, realistically, there are probably only half a dozen teams that can win the World Cup.
Which is a lot more than previous World Cups.
Indeed. And the bulk of those half a dozen are all on one side of the draw.
Yes.
So there are going to be at least a couple of teams who aren't at the semi-final stage of this rugby, but who pre-tournament you'd look at and think they have a chance. The reason the All Blacks are $3 favourites with us is because, and I'll touch on this later, the amount of action we've had on them since this tournament winner book was open back in, I think, 2021. So the money continued to come for the All Blacks regardless of their performances on the field, which we would have expected. So there's a huge liability on the All Blacks to win this for the TAB. So I don't think there's any value there in backing them at $3.50. I don't mind the look of a few other teams in that tournament winner book. The South Africans, who were $6 about a week ago before they did that demolition job on the All Blacks at Twickenham, are now into $4.50.
Big move.
I still think there are a wee bit of value there. Look, I'm really going to throw a dart here, and I'm going to say I don't mind the look of the Argentinians. They're on the other side of the draw.
Sorry, what?
I think they can get through. In fact, I think they can get through to the final. I do. I love their style of football. Shaker, I think he's been with them now, and they understand the sort of game plan that he wants to play. They've got a number of Buffelli who can kick the ball 6 or 7 miles, and they've got a forward pack who will grind out against most teams. So, I've gone on a wee bit, but to answer your question, can the All Blacks win the World Cup? Yes, they can. Do I think they'll win the World Cup? No, I don't.
Get out.
But I'm talking from a punting perspective. I want them to win. I'll be cheering for them in every game.
Argentina have to make it out of their pool first.
Oh,
We'll get to that. Right. We're going to keep this thing moving along. New Zealand squads. There's been a bit of debate about it over the last little while.
Yeah.
Are you happy, Izzy, with who we've taken? And is there one or two players who you would have rather seen make the trip to France?
Yeah, there's a couple of players that I potentially would have loved to have seen there, but just injuries counted them out. You got Ethan Blackhead. I think he would have been huge over in France. He's just back playing for Tasman. You know, injuries aside, will he be a part of it? How's Shannon Frizzell's hamstring? Luke Jacobson, don't get me wrong, love the kid. I think he's got a hell of a future ahead of him, but he just got a little bit exposed, I think, size-wise in that game against South Africa. We need someone that's dominant, physical. You know, Shannon Frizzell showed us the class again at Mount Smart, what he can possess. So if he's fit, he'll be in 6. I would love to see Ethan Blackett. I think Joe Moody's really hard done by. He was ready. I know he's very, very angry with what's going on. Potentially might go, you know. What's happened to Tyrell Lomax's leg? There's a pretty deep cut through the muscle. Is he going to be available? So he'd be definitely one. So those are two players that I think were pretty hard done by. And that's Sam Penifina for what he was able to show in limited opportunities. You know, I think he gave himself a good chance. Other than that, mate, I think it's where do we go now with selections? Like we've got Mark Talia, who's dead set certainty in the wing. We've got Will Jordan, who's a dead set certainty. Just where do we play him? Do they make the brave call of chucking him at fullback, putting Bodie on the bench, and adding, Anton Leonard-Brown to add that impetus off the bench, a bit of impact? That's where I think the big puzzle needs to be sorted. Richie Mo'unga, Aaron Smith, Cam Roygaard's number 2 halfback in the country by a mile. I love what he was able to do against South Africa. So I think we've got to try and now, can they be brave enough to make that call, particularly at the fullback position? Will Jordan, he's in there somewhere. Whether that's fullback, it's anyone's guess. Whether they want to continue down the route of having Bodie, having a dual playmaker, which has worked in the past, that's anyone's guess. So yeah, boys, there's a lot of question marks still that Fozzie will know the answer to.
Pretty good segue there. Thank you, Izzy. I've got here. Is there room in the match day 22 for the 3 of Richie, Bodie, and D-Mac?
Nah.
No.
You can't have. You want some. Like if Bodie and Richie are playing, then it allows you to have a different combination formula for the bench. But you can't have D-Mac, Bodie, and Richie in the same team because they're all covering 10. Yes, D-Mac can cover 15, but they're both predominantly 10s, all of them. So I think D-Mac's going to get an opportunity through the World Cup, but at the moment it's Bodie, Richie Mo'unga. Those are your 2 that can cover 10 fullback opportunities. So, yeah, I don't think D-Mac has any chance at the moment.
I agree with Izzy. I think Jordan has to start in the 15. I'm not sure he will. Foster's he comes across as quite conservative, and he doesn't make any sort of outrageous moves. Well, he hasn't so far in his All Black coaching career. So I think he's going to stick with Barrett at the back and have Will Jordan on the wing. But I think our best lineup is Will Jordan in the 15 jersey, Mo'unga at the 10. Look,
who's on your other wing?
So that's the big question, isn't it, Paulie? Like we got Talia in there. If I was picking the team, I'd chuck Leicester. In the left. He's good in the air, mate. He's worked so hard on defence. He's busy. We need people that are busy, that get off their wing. Like he does things that no other winger does. Gets in around the ruck. He's hungry for the ball. He's good over the ball defensively in that wide channel. So if they are brave, Paulie, Carl, I think Will Jordan fullback, Talia, Whainganuku.
I like it. One man that I had here, Brad Weber, I thought he was pretty unlucky. I thought he's a bit of an Aaron Smith carbon copy. If Aaron Smith goes down, we're in a bit of trouble when it comes to experience.
Oh, mate, you must be listening to the breakfast show, Paulie? I've been harping on about for a very long time. That's the scary part. We lose Aaron Smith. Brad Weber, knowing the experience he has in big moments, it's an easy shift to chuck him in there. Now we got the combination. If he goes down and he's injured for the tournament, Brad Weber will come in and he'll potentially take that opportunity. But I would have felt a bit more comfortable knowing that Brad, Cam, and Brad, Aaron Smith were in there. No disrespect to Finlay Christie. I just think they just offer something different. And big game moments. Like we kicked Paulie in that game. You like that little pun? Sorry about that. We kicked Paulie in that game against South Africa, Paul. Like we kicked so well at Mount Smart. Our ability to kick it on the money and get up and contest was the biggest difference. Finlay Christie, I just don't think he has that kicking ability to really pressure and not solely rely on our nines to kick. We've got to have a lot of variation there. So they'll take a lot away from that game when they got pumped at Twickenham.
If we're talking unlucky players, one that I've got is Sean Stevenson. I think nothing against Caleb Clark. I just think Stevenson gives us that wee bit more sort of flexibility again at the back.
Best player in Super Rugby.
And I think if you're picking Mark Talia, because I think Mark Talia was in the top 2 sort of best players going around in Super Rugby, I think Sean Stevenson was in and amongst that as well. He was up there as well. So I think once again, Foster, very conservative. and sort of rewarding players who have been there before for him.
Correct.
So Clark gets in, but I thought Stevenson was pretty unlucky not to be in there, and offers a wee bit more sort of flexibility to be able to play fullback on the wing. If they needed, he could probably slot.
Hey, what, mate? He needed Shag in there, mate, because he dropped me in 2015. He dropped me, mate. He didn't care about me. He said, get out of here, nigga. He's taking Nehi and Waisaki. So, I wish I had Fozzie head coach. It might have made 2015.
I'm glad as he's over that. I'm glad he is.
He's actually got nothing to lose. Fozzie, have a go.
He's just
already
never
lost what he's got to lose.
Yes, but he's never really shown that before. He's stuck with the players that he's picked pretty much from the outset.
Yeah.
And unless this is his master plan, and he's just going to turn things on on its head when we get to the start of the World Cup, I don't see that happening. But look, they've got the bones of a very, very good. They've got the bones of a World Cup winning team here.
Yeah,
it's going to be very, very tough. I don't think they need to win the first game against France. I think they will, but I don't think they need to. They'll get through. In fact, that's probably the one pool that you can't see anyone sort of sneak it. I know Italy have performed very, very well in Europe. France and the All Blacks are they're a couple of notches above.
Perfect segue into our next segment. We're going to go through the pools very quickly and have a quick look. Pool A, as you say, it's a matter of that first game. Who wins comes out on top. Yep. There's no way that anyone outside of France or New Zealand doesn't go through.
No, but that doesn't guarantee you an easier pathway. By winning Pool A, doesn't guarantee, because it all depends on what happens. And look, you're going to meet either South Africa or
Ireland.
Yes,
Scotland.
Well,
yes.
Here we go.
Yes. Right, let's do Pool A so we can get to the juicier pools.
Yes.
We're all on agreement here. Quick round the table. Izzy, do you think New Zealand will win that first game and top Pool A?
I'm hoping so. They've just had a big injury. I can't remember his name for France, but he's quite important. I think he's
Jonathan Dante.
Yes.
Yeah, Dante, that's him. He's injured. So that's a huge loss. The last 10, 12 combination. So that's the place. But I actually think New Zealand will come second. I think we'll drop the game against France, and we'll come second place. And now they can both go through. That's right. Yeah. You can drop one, I've seen South Africa drop one in the last World Cup, and they went on and won it. So it happens.
France dropped two in 2011.
There you go. They made the final. They nearly beat us. Don't bring it back, mate.
The Springboks have shown the way. Lose against the All Blacks in pool play. Go on and win the World.
I'm happy to lose that first one, boys, and we'll meet them again in the final. But there you go.
I like stats. New Zealand have won 26 of the last 31 against France. At World Cups, we are 5-2. France have only ever beaten New Zealand 13 times. I think AB's get it done. Paul, you've already said you think AB's get it done.
Yeah, look, I think a few of those stats are a wee bit stale.
Whoa.
No, look, a lot of them are drawn from a long, long time ago.
I've gone back to the start of the century, 2000.
These are different times.
Okay,
different times.
Okay.
But I do think the Intermac being out and now Dante as well.
Yeah.
It's a big. Look, there'll be a huge French crowd there for the opener.
Yeah, I think they'll use that, Paulie.
That passion could get the French up and over. I just think the wake-up call the All Blacks got from the Springboks at Twickenham and the lead up to this World Cup,
not good for the French.
There's something that'll it'll switch them on, and they'll want to start this to give themselves that confidence that they can still sort of get there against the best teams in the world.
Correct. So have you got AB's 1, France 2? I know Izzy's got France 1, New Zealand 2. I'm going New Zealand 1, France 2.
France 1, New Zealand 2.
Oh, my God. All right. Pool B. Is this the pool of death? You could argue that there's three pools of death here, but we've got South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, you mentioned before, Izzy, and even Tonga, who could shake things up a little bit. Any of those first three for me could go through.
Yeah.
Izzy, where are you thinking here?
Look, I'm giving Ireland no chance, lads.
Woo!
I'm giving them no chance. Honestly, they won't win this World Cup. They won't win this World Cup. I'll go out on them and say that. And I'll put my head on the line and probably going to get Paulie Moati'd here and get stopped. And Ireland will go through and win it because that's what he does. But I just think World Cup's the different, man. Like the pressure, the scrutiny, just knowing that you've never done it. And when that little bit of doubt sows into your mind, particularly from an Ireland point of view, it can do wonders, man. So that's the reason I guess they get out of their pool. Don't get me wrong. They get out of the pool. But I just don't think they can get it. I think Scotland will be very competitive. And they will push those two sides right to the very end. But South Africa and Ireland get out. And then Ireland bundle out of another quarterfinal.
They've beaten every top team in the world over the last couple of years.
They've won 14 straight.
And I think this World Cup has maybe come 6 months
too late
to 12 months too late for them. Johnny Sexton hasn't played in a while, so he'll be coming in fairly fresh. He's a big part of their plan. I agree with Izzy. I don't see them winning the World Cup. I don't see them making the semi-finals.
They peaked too early.
Yes, I agree.
Too early. I have them topping their pool. And I think South Africa going through, but I like you, Izzy. I think Scotland are really going to make a mess of this. And I hope they go through, and I would not be surprised if they go through.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, mate. They pushed France for 2 tests, probably should have won them. So, no, they're quality.
They have been playing some good rugby. Okay, Pool C. Is this the first time the Australians miss out on a quarterfinal?
This is my pool of death.
Okay.
This is wide open, and I love the Fijians. I love them here. They make it through the quarterfinals for me. They get out of this group. The Welsh are in all sorts of disarray. I think it was Gatlin said after he turned up there, he wouldn't have taken the job if he had realised the state of rugby in Wales. So when the man at the top is saying that, you really got to think there's some problems going on in the valleys, unfortunately. And it's come at the wrong time for the Welsh, with the Fijians starting to be up on the rise, picking up that win.
They played so good against England.
Look,
they played so good.
Now, we all know they've got that. They can throw the ball around and they bust open any sort. The big improvement for me is that set piece. Their scrum is light years ahead of where it was from the last World Cup. They've improved out of sight. I love the look of the Fijians. I've got them going through with the Aussies.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Fijians going through. Mate, they will. I wouldn't be surprised they top that pool. To be honest, they will surprise many, and I can see them beating Australia. I can see them beating Wales, and I can see them topping the pool. But I think Australia go through with Fiji topping that pool. You did right, mate. I knew one day when they get the resources, when they get the belief, and they can have all the core roles of playing rugby at the top of their game, they are hard to beat. And that's what we're starting to see. We're starting to see the results of that. Mate, I love it. Go the Fijians.
They're $10 currently to win the
pool.
Yes.
I'm with you guys. I've got them coming out of the pool. I've got Wales going through instead of Australia. I think the Australians are in absolute disarray. They have lost 12 of their last 13 tests. And actually, Wales aren't much better. They've lost 8 of their last 10 as well. It's a real coin flip for me between those two.
I think if you look at the Wallabies, when Rennie was in charge, they had so many injuries at key positions, as well as a few mental health concerns. So players needed to. I don't think he ever had the opportunity to select his top 15 when he was in charge of the Wallabies. So they're starting to. If Foster is conservative, Eddie Jones is the absolute polar opposite. He's very happy to throw in a couple of sort of.
You leave Michael Hooper at home.
Mate, they got no idea what's going on, those two, mate. They're on their own agenda, aren't they, at the moment? But you did right. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw between those two mugs.
Love that. So we've all got Fiji going through. You guys have got Aussie. I've got Wales. See what happens there. Pool D. Another tough one. England, Argentina, Samoa. And I'm not sure who the other team is because they weren't worth writing down, obviously. Oh, there you go. Not worth writing down. Izzy, initial thoughts on Pool D?
This is an interesting pool too because I actually spoke about that the other day. I said this is where it really gets interesting. Have we taken a lot of confidence? Are we getting too overexcited about the way that they played against Ireland? You know, they pushed them right to the brink. Have we seen enough? Did we see enough? Like, we've seen a glimpses of it over the last couple of weeks because they've been playing a lot of rugby leading up to the World Cup. They've got quality players at 10. You go to Lima Sapwanga. His direction with that team, Stephen Luatua, Michael Alatoa. They got just stars splattered throughout in key positions. Where it gets interesting is England, Argentina. And 2015 just keeps hitting me in the face. Lancaster, like a Lancaster bomber coming over France, and it's like it's about to just explode. I think England are gone. I think Argentina and Samoa are going through to the quarterfinals. They're leaving that pool, and this will be again another English nightmare. Steve Borthwick at the helm this time is going to cop it big time. I just haven't seen anything. Nothing about them is England. Nothing about them as England rugby. They're in disarray. They've got more going on off the field than they're actually producing on the field. And I can see them getting upset and taking home early. Samoa, Argentina for me, lads.
Love that. And to go with that, England have lost 7 of their last 10 and 8 of their last 13 with a draw with us in there. And they lost to Argentina last time out, 30-29.
Owen Farrell, how long's he?
Yeah,
They're not adventurous enough, lads. They play a boring style brand of rugby, and Steve Borthwick loves that. He did it with Leicester Tigers, like that's just how they play, and they need to get out of that mindset. I had Danny Cipriani on the show, and they just don't enjoy people, just showing their cards and trying to express themselves. So with that mindset and attitude, it's just not going to win you a World Cup. They need to be adventurous, and I cannot see it happening.
Paul, who have you got coming out of this one?
Got Argentina.
Yep.
I've got them topping the group.
I agree.
I've got England.
Yeah.
I do have England.
I do too.
I'd love to see the Samoans get through. And boy, with that squad, if they click on the day, they can certainly do it. I just think...
I'm just being there for my PR brothers,
I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those lose to each other.
Yeah.
It
goes on points differential.
Something like that. I don't know.
Try scored.
That and the pull up with Fiji, Wales, and Australia. Yeah, it's wild. Right, Izzy, I know you've got to get out of here shortly.
All good.
One last thing before you go. We're going to do this each week. Start one, bench one, cut one. A bit of fun. I've got you guys coming in blind. I'm going to give you 3 players, and I want you to start one, bench one, cut one.
Yep.
The theme this week, we were talking about it earlier, interchangeable wingers and fullbacks. I thought because we've got Israel Dagg on our show, he played both positions very well. A nice, perhaps controversial one to start.
I get a feeling I know where this is going.
Where are you going, mate? Come on, then.
What if I said so?
You want a headline? You're going to get it.
This will be the last Pick and Go podcast that Izzy appears on.
It might be me. They all played for the Highlanders. They all played both positions for New Zealand. They all played a World Cup final. And they all had a crack at kicking goals at some point, but all distinctly different in the way they play. Your three players, Jeff Wilson, Ben Smith, and the great man Israel Dagg. Start one, bench one, cut one. Please, Paul.
Oh, Izzy would go first.
You can cut me, Paulie. You can cut me if you want, brother. I won't be offended. I just want that bonus bits, but
I can't do it. I just can't do it.
cut me, Paulie. Cut me. You cut me every day.
I'm going to start Jeff Wilson.
Yep.
I'm going to start him. I think at his peak, he was just so interchangeable from fullback to wing. You didn't lose anything with Jeff. I'm going to bench Izzy because I think he would have the most impact off the bench out of those three players.
You're not cutting the great one, are you?
Look, what is it? He's got his clothing line and all that, so he's okay. Ben Smith will be fine. So yeah, out of those three, I start Jeff Wilson, I'll bench Izzy, and I cut Ben Smith.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
You're a nice man. You're a nice man, Paulie. I know you're going to throw me under the bus once you hang up. Can I redo that? Look, I'm going to start Ben. I'm going to start Bender. Mate, honestly, like we battled each other every year, and everyone thought there was this real bad. I got a lot of respect for Ben. And he actually made me a better player, and I'll say that happily. Like he was class, man. He was the toughest bloke I've ever played with. And when I had Ben playing with me, I felt comfortable, and I felt like I was able to do my job. He'll probably go down as one of the greatest Highlanders of all time, one of our greatest outside backs of all time. So I'll start Bender. I'll bench Goldie. Grew up watching Goldie, and love what he was able to do. And now I work with him, and he thinks he can kick goals. So Bender can't kick goals, so that's probably his only blink in his armour. But bench him, and I'll cut myself.
He's cutting himself.
I'm a sacrificial lamb for the greater good of the game, and I've cut myself.
Man.
Man. Oh, so Shag made the right decision in 2000.
It cut me, buddy. It cut me. And I've been cut plenty, so I'm happy to cut myself.
Nice. I've got a story about Ben Smith. Just quickly. I went to primary school with him. And you remember how you play rugby at lunchtime, you do the pickups to see who, captain, who's going to get the first pick.
Yeah.
I was captain this day, and I got the first pick, and everyone used to pick Ben Smith because he was Ben Smith. Yeah. And
even at primary school.
Even at primary. This is, 7, 8, 9. I can't remember how old, but for whatever reason this day I thought, no, I'm gonna shake things up a little bit, and I picked someone else.
Good on you, Eddie Jones.
This guy Shane. I can't remember his last name. Picked him. Needless to say, I absolutely copped it from everyone else. Bender was sort of in disarray, didn't know what happened, and we lost the game.
Yes.
Well, let's hope you're not selecting the All Blacks. You're over the ditch.
All right. That went exactly how I want it to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's cut Karl Tiley.
Yeah.
Let's cut him.
He's gone. All right. If you're going to need to drop out, you just go when you got to go, man. We will keep going, though. Next segment, Controversy Corner. Something else we're going to do each week.
Yep.
A topical subject, a little bit of controversy. This week.
What is it?
This week, cards. We had 2 yellows and a red, or more specifically, Scott Barrett had 2 yellows and a red against South Africa last week. The first one was a bit more of a team penalty. The second one, closer to a dog act. But keen to sort of discuss, he wasn't at fault that first time round.
Well, no, he was at fault.
Okay, his play at that time probably wasn't a yellow card.
Look,
warrantable.
These are the sorts of conditions that we're going to be playing under.
Let me get this out
before
before we argue this.
All right.
I would say the play he made wasn't wasn't yellow cardable, but it was a build-up of plays made by others during that time. Is there a way or a solution around these sort of team yellow cards?
Well, yes, better discipline. How about that? Hey,
Okay.
it's a simple solution. Don't commit these sorts of silly infringements, and you won't get pinged. And if you don't get pinged, no cards will come out of the referee's pockets. Yeah, if you have a look at it, in a normal sort of, if that was the first offence of the game, then he doesn't get a yellow card for that. But it was obvious there was going to be a yellow card sooner or later after the repeated infringements by the All Blacks. So you look at that, you think, let's just take a step back. Let's really try to play to the letter of the law. The second yellow card, that was an easy one for the referee. That was an easy one. And so the only way you can combat that is by adapting to the way that the game is officiated up in the Northern Hemisphere, because that's where this Rugby World Cup is being played. You improve your discipline, and that's one big factor for the All Blacks. If they're to go deep into this tournament, their discipline has to improve. And so that's something that you can improve. You can do it in training sessions, making sure everyone's on the correct page, having a leadership group, and that's just not Sam Cane, but having a leadership group on the field that will call players out and say, hey, this has to improve now. Otherwise, we're going to continue to get pinged. So that's the one way of combating that, discipline.
Okay. For the listeners there, we've lost our...
we've cut him.
Our co-host, Izzy Dagg. He's taken to offense what Paul said, and he's gone. Hopefully he will be back during the rest of this World Cup show. I've got another solution for you.
Yep.
And it's a bit out there.
Tell me about it.
Perhaps. What if the ref makes the decision, says, hey, Sam, it's a team yellow. Give me one guy who you're sending off. The captain can pick anyone they want, and they send them to the bin for 10 minutes. Or, this gets even more wild, and tell me to shut up.
Oh, my goodness.
If you want me to. Or, it's one person goes to the bin, and you've got rolling subs for that one player for 15 minutes. Because you're still at a disadvantage. You've only got 14 players on the field at all times. However, because it was a team penalty and a team card, you can manipulate the positions where you need strength and where you can sacrifice for an extended period of time.
No, your team is the team that made the indiscretions.
Yes.
So you don't get to choose how you serve your sentence.
Okay.
It's the referee. He pulls the yellow card out, pings that player. He's off for 10 minutes, comes back on. If he gets another yellow card, he's gone.
Yes.
It's very simple, easy to understand. And if you don't want to pick up cards like that, improve your discipline.
Okay. I'm going to send this to Izzy and see what he says, and I'll report back next week.
Good. How many cards did he get?
That's a good question. Do you know the answer?
No, I don't. Ask him.
We should look it up.
Yeah.
We should look it up and find out. All right, that's Controversy Corner. Not as controversial as I was pushing for.
Well, it would have been if Izzy was still there.
Yes. I have a feeling he probably would have agreed with you, though. And I would have been made to look like an egg. All right, should we have a look at some betting?
That's why we're here.
That is why we're here.
That is why we're here.
Have you got some big bets or some information on where the money is going so far?
Yeah, I've looked at the tournament winner market.
Yes.
And that's been open since, I think, 2021, maybe even earlier.
Don't they open it the day after the World Cup final?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember, because we used to have a limit on how far out we could
Of course,
open
yeah.
markets. I think this may have been just outside of that.
Yep.
So in terms of the outright winner market, the tournament winner, the All Blacks are our worst result by far.
As you'd expect.
Yeah, so we've had 3 $5,000 bets on the All Blacks at $3.50. Had another $5,000 bet on the All Blacks at $3.75. They're currently $3.50 to win the Rugby World Cup. They hit a low of $2.88 and a high of $4. So they
not a lot of movement.
There's been a bit of movement, but not outrageous.
Yep.
The French, second favourites at the moment with us. We've had a $20,000 bet on France to win the Rugby World Cup at $3.25.
Wow.
They're currently $4 and second favourites. They hit a low of $3 and a high of $9.
Wow.
So those who got on at $9, fairly happy with themselves. They've got big overs there. The South Africans, who are now our third favourites, they're at $4.50. We've had 6 $1,000 bets on the South Africans at $6, and another $1,000 bet on the Springboks at $6.50. They're at their lowest trading odds at $4.50 right now, and they got out to $7 over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
The Irish, we had a $5,000 bet on the Irish at $4.50, a $700 bet on the Irish at $8. They're currently $5. $4.50 was their lowest odds, and $17 when they're at a high.
At $4.50, I'm guessing must have been just after they beat us up over here.
I'd say so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, after they won that series in New Zealand for the first time ever.
Yep.
The Australians, we had a $1,500 bet at 11s and a $1,500 bet at 13s. They're 13 now. They were at $8 during the last couple of years, and they hit a high of 15.
Wow.
England, not a lot of action on the English, to be fair. 1,000 on England at $6 is the biggest bet for them to win the tournament. They actually hit 450 at some stage, and they're currently at their highest quote, $15 right now.
Wow.
So of the top teams, that's where the money has gone so far.
Alrighty. That is impressive.
As I say,
Tough luck to them.
a huge liability on the All Blacks. If the All Blacks win, the country will be so happy, and we'll sort of be happy, but with a few less dollars in our pockets.
The bookies won't be happy.
No, they won't be.
So whoever put $1,000 on Australia, tough bet.
They are on the end. They're on the other side of the draw.
Good luck to you.
You don't have them getting out of the
They're
pool.
not going to
Is
get out
that
of their
right?
pool. They're not going to get out of their pool.
Right. Okay.
They won't happen. Okay. So we've gone through the outright winner. So what we're going to do each week, we'll give ourselves, Paul, $100 to bet with. You can make as many bets as you like. And we'll give our guests $100 too. And we'll keep track of these bets through the World Cup, report back, see how we're going week to week. Obviously, today is going to be all about the outrights because we're not in play yet. But before we get there, let's just have a quick look / chat about some of the outrights available to us. Let me just get to the betting hub. A few more markets have been added today, I noticed.
Yes, there are. Yep.
So we've got outright winner, top tournament try scorer. There is to reach the final, pick the finalists, to reach the semi, to reach the quarter. We've got people teams top their pools. We've got some boosted odds. New Zealand and France both make the final, 325 out to 4s. All rugby championship teams to win their pool, 933 out to 10s. No, thank you. Richie Mo'unga, top points scorer, $3 out to $3.50. We've got a bunch of I quite like this from the bookies, Paul. The tournament top try scorer bets have been broken down into groups.
Yes, if you don't want to look at the entire 20 teams squads, then the bookies have put a few different groups together, so there's not as many players to cover.
Winning regions, there's all sorts there already. It's looking pretty healthy. Head to the France 23 hub at tab.co.nz. Paul, there's actually a couple of promos available too.
I'm glad you mentioned the tournament top try scorer market, because we've got a promotion on that. Place a $20 or more top tournament try scorer bet, and you'll get a $10 bonus bet for every try your player scores during the tournament. So head to the Punters Lounge on the TAB website to check out all the T's and C's. But say you like someone like, Will Jordan's the bookie's favourite to be the tournament top try scorer. He's currently $7. So, and it has to be your first bet on that market. So if you've already had a $20 or more bet on the tournament top try scorer market, then you've already qualified.
You want to be kicking them home. I had a look. Top try scorers in the last couple of World Cups, 878, I think, in terms of tries scored. So
I don't see that sort of changing too much. Possibly, maybe one less, 7 or 6, maybe. Just with the, I know there are the minnows like the likes of Chile who have done a fantastic job to get there. But there are so many. It's such a tough tournament. Players are going to have to be rested.
Yep.
So if you do pick a player, I guess you got to look towards the games against the minnows in the group, and will your player be playing against those teams?
I reckon there's only one pool that the tournament top try scorer can come out of.
Whoa.
Possibly only 2 teams in New Zealand and France.
Interesting. I disagree. But
okay.
Anyway.
All right. Well, let's go. Have you got a best bet and a value bet? And are they included in your $100? Or would you like to call out a best bet? How do you want to do this?
I do have a best bet.
Is it included in your betting for the week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your best bet?
My best bet is Fiji to make the quarterfinals at $3. I absolutely love the look of the Fijians.
Yep.
The Buller Boys, I think, are going to really, really turn it up at this tournament. They'll be so, I guess, enthused, and they'll have so much confidence after that win over the Poms.
Yep.
And that's the one thing with the Pacific Island team, you don't want them to get a foot up over you. And the English have already given that to the Fijians. So they'll come into this tournament absolutely humming, I think. So I love them to make the quarterfinals. $3, I think, is just it still represents a wee bit of value for mine.
And how much are you staking on that, Paul?
I'm putting
for a little play.
50.
50. Woo! Okay. My best was nearly that, but I knew you were going to take it. So I thought first show we'll do something a little bit different. I've gone to the tournament top try scorer, Group 3, the group of hookers, and I am taking South African Bongi Mbonambi.
Mbonambi
at $3.50, is he? You got it there?
Let me just.
I think it's $3.50. I think him and Cody Taylor are tied.
Which group is it? Group
3. He is $3. Sorry, $3. I will be putting $30 on that. Have you got? I'll let you roll through the rest of your bets, for your $100. Yep.
Look, I'm taking a tournament top try scorer bet just because of the promotion that we've got on it. And look, I understand Mbonambi is probably going to be starting most games for the South Africans, but I think he might get a wee bit of a rest against a couple of the lesser teams. So I love the look of Malcolm Marx. I'm hoping he starts against Romania. And if he does, well, we all know the style of rugby that the South Africans play, and their forward pack can dominate top-tier teams. They'll absolutely have a field day against the Romanians, I think. So if he does start, we know what happens when there's a line out 5 meters out from the try line. And he's quite mobile as well, Malcolm Marx. And so I can see him out on the sort of doing a Dane Coles sort of style out on the wing at times.
Yep.
I think he's going to pick up a few tries there. And when he comes in off the bench, I can see him scoring a try or two as well. So I don't mind the look of him at $31 to be the tournament top try scorer. Top try scorer. That's me.
I like that. I did look at the hookers, and my one thought is that against those minnows, is the forward pack really going to be involved as much as we see the likes of South Africa when they play New Zealand or Australia? And in my mind, and this may be too much Journal or Rugby on PlayStation growing up, but you just feed the backs and let them run around the outside. That was my only sort of concern with the hookers being in the top try scorer. I've also got top try scorer. I'm going Mark Tillier at $9. I get the feeling he will play. He'll obviously won't play through, but I think he'll play most of the games for the All Blacks. He's still pretty raw in that black jersey for New Zealand, so he's going to need some time on the park, and he will just score tries for fun. So Mark Tillier at $9. What else you got for me, Paul?
So I put 50 on Fiji to make the quarterfinals at $3.
Yep.
20 on Malcolm Marx to be the tournament top try scorer.
Yep.
So that's $70 gone.
You got 30 left.
30.
Yep.
On Fiji to beat Wales in their first game of the tournament. Currently $2.50. Fiji $2.50 to beat Wales. $30 on.
Okay.
I'm sticking. I'm sticking with the Fijians.
We will get to the game previews next week, so you can't take that bet again next week.
I won't.
We can actually if you want. We'll probably double up.
Yeah, I'm guessing the price will have come in, so
maybe
I've got the value.
Speaking of value, I think I have found some value, and I double checked with the bookies that this price was right before we come on here to promote it. In the at the hub, if you go to the other markets, there is a bunch here: total tournament red cards, yellow cards, drop goals, tries, total points, the lot. I am looking at tournament total tries. The first line there. Under 300.5 tries at $15. The favourites we've got between $341 and $350 and $351 and $360.
Both paying $6.
$6. Under 300.5 tries at $15. And I'm going to tell you why. In the 5 minutes of research I did before selecting that option, I had a look at 2011, 262 tries. 2015, 263 tries. And 2019, 285 tries. Now, there were a couple that were affected by the typhoon in 2019, so that probably would have been closer to the 300 mark. But I'd hazard a guess, if we went back to 27 and whatever was before that, 2003, 99, they would all be around that 260 mark or less. So I am going to go $15 on that, under 300.5 tries at $15. And then to round out my $100, tournament top point scorer, Johnny Sexton at $10.
Well, I guess you've got them going deep.
I have, and I think the games that they play will be tight, and they love to kick a goal, and he's pretty good at doing it. Top point scorer last time out was South African, and his name is gone. Andre Pollard, maybe. 69 points. So you've got to average just under. He was averaging just under 10 a game. I think it's doable.
Good luck to you.
Doable. Good luck to me. And good luck to all of you out there. Remember, if you are having a bet, please do so responsibly.
Have you said who's going to win?
New Zealand. Didn't I say at the top?
I thought that was just like a general question. Do you think they can win?
I do think they can win.
Oh,
Yes.
and that's who you have winning.
Yes.
Give me the Springboks
If they
right
get
now.
if they get through the quarterfinals and the semifinals.
Give me the Springboks right now. This
Okay.
this for me has parallels to Richie McCaw and the All Blacks 2011, 2015. I can see Sia Khaleesi
We won those.
doing
Oh, you mean the South Africans?
correct.
Sorry.
I can see them doing the same thing 2019, 2020, 23. The forward pack is going to I cannot see them getting outplayed by any other nation in this World Cup. And then they've got the bomb squad. But they've just got, it's just a ridiculous amount of riches in the forward. You saw the game against the All Blacks at Twickenham.
Yes.
And they brought 7 forwards on. Was it only? I think it was only Peter Steph Dutoit who was the only forward. He didn't get replaced.
And he got yellow carded.
But he did, so he probably needed a rest. Anyway, but they brought the pack on. I thought that try that was scored by Quagga Smith was a thing of beauty, because they had driven over from lineouts, I think 2 times before that, and scored tries, and they set it up to look like they were going to do that again. The All Blacks defensively set up to combat that, and he came round the back, took the ball, and bustled over the try. I thought it was just a beautifully worked try. I was concerned when Lucanio Arm, with his injury, not getting selected. But boy, oh boy, that Cannon Moody just looks sensational in the centres for them. He looks like bang, he's like a cannon. He's out there. I really like the look of the Spring. I think they can go back to back. I think they will. So, yeah, the 450, I still think, is a bit of value. They look super good. And I know the All Blacks had to play with a man down for most of that game. So it's hard to gauge how the All Blacks spent. When they had 15 men on the field at the beginning of that game, they were competing, but I thought the Springboks were grinding them down. And even if the All Blacks kept all 15 on, I think the Springboks still would have won that match quite convincingly.
Have you forgotten about Mount Smart?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in the Southern Hemisphere.
Because we did to them what they did to us.
That's in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I'm aware.
The Rugby World Cup
Might be the
2023 is
greatest
in the
stadium in the world.
Northern Hemisphere.
Okay.
And they do perform up there.
They do.
I
All
know.
right.
Well, that's it. I just had to say.
Yeah.
Yep. I think the Springboks will go back to back.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. Currently $4.50 the Springboks. I've actually got my pick the finalists. I ended up with New Zealand, Ireland.
I've got South Africa, Argentina. That's currently $81
That is
in
wild.
the pick the finalists.
I can't believe you got Argentina. That is wild. All right. It's probably us for
We got through.
episode 1.
Are we going to have a guest next week?
Oh, I'd like to think so.
Good.
Hopefully Izzy's back, unless we hurt his feelings.
Yeah, we didn't cut him.
Well, we did.
We didn't.
You did. As I say, if you are going to have a bet with us, before we wrap up, to anyone listening that hasn't got a TAB account, any new punters to the game, what's going on here? We've got a deposit offer on at the moment. Deposit $10 and get 50 in bonus bets. Yeah, that's a good one for you. Get into it. Rip in. If you are going to have a bet, please do so responsibly and safely. Stay within your limits. Paul, thank you for joining me.
It's been great. I can't wait for the tournament to get underway. A huge match to open up with. And there are plenty more big matches during the tournament in pool play. There'll be more big matches in pool play than we've ever seen before, just with the makeup of the tournament this time around. So I just can't wait for it to start. I'll be disappointed when it finishes. I think you'll be disappointed probably at the semi-final stage. I hope you're not.
This is episode 1, man. We're going to be back next week to talk about everything round 1. all the big games, the big matchups, some of those big pool play games.
I want to see the All Blacks win. I don't think they will.
Save it for next week, please.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for joining us on the Pick and Go podcast. We will be back next week to do it all again. Cheers.